press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
So, dear students, in our previous class, we have considered certain basic aspects of thermal properties of matter. See, we have understood what is the difference between heat and temperature, what is thermometry, what are the different techniques in involving the measurement of temperature. See, later on, we moved on to effects of heat. I mean thermal expansion, change of state, and also some techniques behind measurement of heat, what we call it as calorimetry. See, in this class we shall take up few problems which are related to entrance. See, already you know some of the problems we have discussed in the class, but for sake of completion I am considering a few examples, okay, so that you can appreciate what you have learned. So let us start with the first question. Recently, the phenomenon of superconductivity has been observed at 95 Kelvin. This temperature is nearly equal to. See, they ask you to find out the temperature at Fahrenheit scale. Okay, in Fahrenheit scale, they ask you to find out what is the temperature corresponding to 95 Kelvin. So, you know that the temperature in Kelvin, temperature in any scale, general formula, temperature in one scale minus lower fixed point divided by upper fixed point minus lower fixed point. This is in one scale. This is equal to temperature in second scale, and in that lower fixed point, upper fixed point minus lower fixed point. This is related to scale 2. Okay. Now they have given temperature in Kelvin scale. You have to find out the corresponding temperature in Fahrenheit. See, therefore, here I just write the Tk minus lower fixed point is 273 Kelvin. 373 Kelvin minus 273 Kelvin. 373 is the boiling point. Okay. I just make round it off. Actually, it is 273.15. Okay. So this is equal to temperature in the second scale, that has to be calculated Tf minus lower fixed point 32 degree Fahrenheit and upper fixed point 212 minus 32. Okay. Now let us substitute for temperature in Kelvin. How much they have given? 95 Kelvin. 95 minus 273 divided by 100 is equal to Tf minus 32 divided by 180. Okay. You please simplify this. 9 by 5, 95 minus 273 is equal to Tf minus 32. Okay. See, on simplification, so you are going to get minus 297 degree minus, it will be around you please simplify this, it will be around minus 288. See, on simplification you are going to get Tf is equal to minus 288 degree Fahrenheit. We simplify, the cross multiply this and simplify. On simplification you are going to get minus 288.4 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, actually 288.4. See, first, see, therefore first A option is the correct answer. Have you followed, right? Now let us move on to the next problem. maximum density of water is at a temperature. So you know that water has a maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius, and you have to express this 4 degrees Celsius in terms of Fahrenheit. Water, maximum density of water observed at 4 degrees Celsius. See, therefore you have to express in terms of Fahrenheit. See, temperature in degrees Celsius minus lower fixed point divided by upper fixed point minus lower fixed point. This is equal to temperature in Fahrenheit minus lower fixed point divided by upper fixed point minus lower fixed point. See, this is Tc 4 by 100 is equal to Tf minus 32 divided by 180. You please take to this side. So you are going to get 9 by 5 or 9 into 4, 36 is equal to Tf minus 32. You please simplify this. 7.2 is equal to Tf minus 32. See, therefore Tf is equal to 39.2 degree Fahrenheit. See, therefore the density of water, maximum density of water in Fahrenheit scale is 39.2 degree Fahrenheit. See, in this case, when a copper ball is heated, large percentage of increase will occur in its. So you know that volume of a sphere is given by V is equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube. When you supply heat, radius will change, right? Radius will change. Therefore, volume will change. See here, when you take the percentage of increase, delta V by V into 100%. See, this is called relative error. Okay, relative error that we have studied in units and measurement. It is the percentage error, relative error multiplied by 100% gives you percentage error. Percentage error in the measurement of volume is equal to, all these are constants. Therefore, here r cube 3 into delta r by r into 100%. Into 100%. See, this is equal to delta V by V into 100% is equal to, all these are constants, only radius is variable, 3 into delta R by R into 100%. See, since radius is having a power 3, the fractional or percentage change in the volume will be increased. See, therefore, see, correct option is volume. Volume is the correct option, because see, whatever you calculate here, 3 multiplied by radius, 3 times the radius, percentage change in the radius. So therefore, largest percentage in the increase of volume is observed. Okay. The apparent coefficient of expansion of a liquid when heated in a copper vessel is C. When heated in a silver vessel is S. If A is the linear coefficient of expansion of copper, then linear coefficient expansion of silver is. See, this is the case of expansion of a liquid. So you know that in case of a liquid, real expansion is equal to cubical expansion of the container plus apparent expansion of the liquid. See, this relation is already known to you. First, let us take copper vessel. So, you have in this problem, you have taken the same liquid and you have kept the liquid once in copper vessel, another in the other case you kept the same liquid in a silver vessel, right? See, therefore, when you kept in a copper vessel, real expansion is equal to 3 times expansion. See, this is so you know that container. So when you take gamma, so you know that gamma is equal to 3 times alpha. Relation between alpha and gamma is given by this relation. Already it is known to you. Gamma is equal to 3 times alpha. That relation we have derived. Okay. Let us make use of that relation. So therefore, when you take real expansion of copper, this is equal to 3 times alpha of copper plus apparent expansion, gamma apparent. See here, they have given the linear expansion of copper as taken as A, and for copper vessel C, 3 into C plus A is equal to gamma of real. Silver, not silver. Heated in a copper vessel C, if A is the linear coefficient of expansion of copper. Okay. See here, they have given apparent coefficient of expansion of a liquid heated in a copper vessel is C. C is this one is C, and when heated in a silver vessel is S. Okay, A is the linear coefficient of expansion of copper. This is A, 3 into A. Okay, this is given. Let me call this as equation 1. See, when you kept in a silver vessel, gamma of real is equal to 3 into alpha of silver plus apparent expansion. Here in this case, apparent expansion is given as S. This is gamma of real. This is equation 2. Since you are making use of the same liquid, you just equate them. Say 3 into alpha of silver plus S is equal to 3A plus C. So you please take this S to that side. Alpha of silver becomes equal to 3A plus C minus S divided by 3. Okay, 3A plus 3A, which one is the answer? 3A plus C minus S. See, therefore second option is correct. See, therefore in this case the linear expansion coefficient of silver is given by this. It's one of the important problem appeared in most of the examination. You must remember this result. Okay. See, I hope you have understood this. The real expansion is equal to expansion of the container plus apparent expansion. This is the case of liquids. See here, first we have kept the liquid in a copper vessel. Later we have kept in a silver vessel. And you know that volume expansion coefficient is 3 times the linear expansion coefficient. When you take copper, see, in the place of container I have taken 3 into alpha of copper plus gamma apparent expansion. Apparent expansion for copper given as C. Alpha of copper is given as A. See, this is one equation. When you take a silver, you have to find out what is this. Alpha of silver, they ask you to find out. Gamma of apparent expansion in silver vessel is given. This is S. Apparent expansion of the liquid in a silver vessel is given S. See, therefore, you please equate these two and find out what is the linear expansion coefficient of the liquid in a silver vessel, right? It is given by this relation. Okay, with that we shall move on to next question. A uniform metal rod used as a bar pendulum. If the room temperature rises by 10 degrees Celsius, coefficient of linear expansion of the metal rod is 2 into 10 raised to minus 6 per degree Celsius. The period of the pendulum will have a percentage increase of. So you know that in the previous class I have discussed this. In case of a pendulum clock during summer, there will be little expansion of the rod. See, as the rod expands, there is an increase in the length. When the length increases, period also increases. See, therefore clock became slow. During the winter, the rod will contract. See, this will decreases the period, and as a result clock gains the time. Okay, that's the problem with a pendulum clock. See, that's why I told you that we are making use of bar pendulum composed of an alloy called Invar, which is 64% steel and 36% nickel. It's a combination, it's an alloy. So when you move it up that alloy, when you make that bar pendulum with that alloy, expansion is extremely small, so you can neglect it, right? So in this case, we have already taken this equation. Fractional increase in the period is given by half into alpha into delta theta. This is known to you. They ask you to calculate what is the percentage increase. Delta t by t. See, t represents here period. T refers to period. Remember, this is a period. Percentage increase is given by delta t by t into 100% is equal to half into alpha into delta theta into 100%. Half into alpha is given how much? 2 into 10 raised to minus 6. And what is the rise in temperature? Rise in temperature is 10 degrees Celsius, right? And multiply this by 100%. So you please calculate this. See, here you are going to get what is the answer. See, here 2 got cancelled, 10 raised to minus 3, 1 into 10 raised to minus 3%, right? So with that we shall move on to the next problem. So fourth option is correct. So period got increases, therefore we have to take the positive one. Sorry. A bar of iron is 10 centimeter at 20 degrees Celsius. At 19 degrees Celsius it will be. So you know that, see, we have a rod, and this rod is at certain temperature. Its actual length is not known. Whatever length they have given, I take it as length at temperature T. Original length is L0. Okay, so when you take this relation, LT is equal to L0 into 1 plus alpha T. See, this is the relation, actual relation, right? So now let us take two equations. L1 is equal to L0 into 1 plus alpha into T1. L2 is equal to L0 into 1 plus alpha T2. See, these are at two different temperature, length at two different temperature. So they ask you to find out what is its length at 19 degrees Celsius. At 20 degree they have given us 10 centimeter. They ask you to find out what is its length at 19 degrees Celsius. So therefore you please take this L1 by L2 is equal to 1 plus alpha into T1 by 1 plus alpha into T2. L1 is they have given us a 10 centimeter divided by L2. See, this is equal to 1 plus alpha is given. Alpha is 11 into 10 raised to minus 6 and this is at 20. 1 plus 11 into 10 raised to minus 6. This is 19. You please simplify this, cross multiply and simplify. So you are going to get L2 is equal to, you are going to get 9.9989, 9.9989 centimeter. Okay. Now you just take the difference. See, therefore, what is increase? Delta L is equal to L1 minus L2, 10 minus 9.9989 centimeter. So you are going to get, say this is comes out to be 0.00011. See here, 999 is there. Centimeter, or this is equal to 11 into 10 raised to minus 5 centimeter. Right. See, therefore, it will be shorter because as temperature decreases, length also decreases. See, therefore, C is the correct answer. When a bimetallic strip is heated, well, I even explained this. See, bimetallic strip is a strip which is made of different metals. They are of same dimension, same length, thickness, and they are riveted together. They are being riveted together. Okay, they are tightly riveted together. See, when you supply heat to this, since they are having different expansion coefficients, the one which is having higher expansion coefficient, say expands like this, will be more curved. Okay, this is the upper one, and another one, this one. See, this is 1 and 2, this will be 1 and 2. See, if alpha 1, this is alpha 2. If alpha 1 is greater than alpha 2, then you will observe this. If you take aluminum and brass, aluminum is having linear expansion coefficient of 2.5 into 10 raised to minus 5 per Kelvin. Brass is having 1.8 into 10 raised to minus 5 Kelvin. See, therefore, if you heat such a bimetallic strip, this will be aluminum, this will be brass. On the other hand, if you take brass and iron, iron is having linear expansion coefficient 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per Kelvin. See, therefore, if you take brass and iron, brass will be this and iron will be this. Have you got it? See, therefore, which is the answer? Bent in the form of an arc with a more expandable metal outside. See, therefore, C is the correct answer. When you heat this bimetallic strip, it bends such that a metal with higher value for linear expansion coefficient will be outside. It bends more, right? If the length of a cylinder, is on heating increases by 2%, the area of its base is, area proportional to L square. See, therefore, when you take a percentage area or delta A by A, this is equal to 2 into delta L by L. Okay, if you take percentage into 100%, into 100%, and here they have given this as 2%. 2 into 2%. See what you are going to get? 4%. See, therefore, percentage increase in area is equal to 4%. Quite obvious. This kind of problem we have worked out in the second chapter itself. The coefficient of superficial expansion of a solid is 2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per degree Celsius. Its coefficient of linear expansion. Alright. So you know that coefficient of superficial expansion or areal expansion is related to alpha like this. Alpha is equal to beta is equal to 2 times alpha, or alpha is equal to beta by 2. They have given beta superficial expansion, therefore 2 into 10 raised to minus 5 divided by 2 gives you 1 into 10 raised to minus 5 per degree Celsius. See, this is how you can calculate alpha, see, using a simple relation. A beaker is completely filled with water at 4 degrees Celsius. It will overflow if. So you know that water has maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius, right? See, here you have taken water up to the brim, okay? It is completely filled. Water is being completely filled up to the brim of the vessel, okay? Up to the edge of the vessel, brim of the vessel. Beaker is completely filled with water. Suppose if you increase the temperature, what happens? Beyond 4 degrees Celsius, as temperature increases, volume also increases. See, therefore, water will overflow when it is heated. If you increase the temperature above 4 degrees Celsius, water expands, right? See, therefore, water will overflow. Suppose if you decrease the temperature below 4 degrees Celsius, you know that water has a maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius. When you go below 4 degree, again water expands. Water has an anomalous expansion, right? See, therefore, when you go above 4 degree or below 4 degree, see, the water level increases, volume increases. See, therefore, it will overflow. See, therefore, both heated and cooled above and below 4 degrees Celsius, you will observe the overflowing of water from the container. Water will overflow if you heat above 4 degrees Celsius or if you cool below 4 degrees Celsius. See, this is because of anomalous expansion of water. So therefore, option C is correct. Remember, there is another important frequently asked question. So, suppose if the temperature around a lake is minus 10 degrees Celsius, what is the temperature of water at the bottom of the lake? At the bottom, it will be 4 degrees Celsius only, right? Because of anomalous expansion. On heating a liquid through 80 degrees Celsius, mass expelled is 1/100th of mass still remaining. The coefficient of apparent expansion of the liquid. So you know, coefficient of apparent expansion. Can in terms of mass we can write mass expelled divided by mass remaining into increase in temperature. Mass expelled, this is they have given 1/100th. Let me take it as x by 100. Mass remaining is x, and what is delta T? Rise in temperature is 80 degrees Celsius. You please simplify this. 1 by 8 into 10 raised to 3. On simplifying this, 0.125 into 10 raised to minus 3, or this is equal to 1.25 into 10 raised to minus 4 per degree Celsius, right? So you please check it up. Therefore, option first is the correct answer. So you can express in terms of volume or mass. They are related to each other. The cylindrical metal rod of length L0 is shaped into a ring with a small gap as shown on heating. See, here they have given the ring. Here given. See, they are having the distance between the two final ends. Ends of the ring is x, radius is r, and the thickness they have given as d. These three data given. When heat is given to this ring, so it will expand, ring will expand. So you have come across how we can fit the iron rim to the cartwheel after heating. Say that example already known to you. See here, when you give constant heat to the entire ring, if all the entire dimension of the ring gets equal quantity of heat, then the expansion will be same, right? See, this expansion is like photographic enlargement. Suppose you have taken the photograph of a flower using your mobile. See, when you make an enlargement, right? See, every part of the flower expands equally, right? Or if you try to contract it, every part of the flower contracts uniformly. See, because the solid we have taken in this example is an isotropic. See, here the expansion is same in all directions. Therefore, in this case, x or d all will increase. Okay, you can take the example of photographic enlargement. It's just like photographic enlargement. All the quantities will increases. Okay, see, therefore, option C is the correct answer. Two rods, one of aluminium and the other made of steel, having initial length L1 and L2, are connected together to form a single rod of length L1 plus L2. The coefficient of linear expansion of aluminium and steel are alpha A and alpha S respectively. If the length of each rod increases by the same amount when their temperature are raised by T degree Celsius, find the ratio of L1 by L1 plus L2. So it's an interesting problem. Here they have given there are two rods, one is aluminium and another one aluminium, other one is steel. See, they are having different length. But they have what the data says, they increases by the same amount. See, therefore delta L1 is equal to delta L2. Delta L of aluminium is given as delta L of steel. So when they increases, right, and both the temperature increases by the same amount, delta L is given by, that delta L by L is equal to alpha into delta T. See, this is the relation, delta T capital. See, therefore, see here they have given delta L is equal to alpha into L into delta T. See, in this case, alpha of aluminium multiplied by L1. Length of aluminium is L1. And this is alpha of steel L2. Temperature remains same. In both the cases, temperature rises by T degree Celsius. Therefore, T got cancelled. Okay. What remains? Only this one. I am using this relation. Here also T, here also T got cancelled. They ask you to find out what is L1 by L1 plus L2. So now you just take this ratio L1 by L2 is equal to alpha S by alpha A. Alpha, this is taken as alpha A. Alpha A. Now you please add 1 on both sides. L1 by L2 plus 1 alpha S by alpha A plus 1. Take LCM, L2, they have, okay, I will do one thing, I will take reciprocal, L2 by L1 is equal to alpha A by alpha S. Now add 1, L2 by L1 plus 1 is equal to alpha A by alpha S plus 1. When you simplify this, L2 plus L1 divided by L1 is equal to alpha A plus alpha S by alpha S. They ask you to find out what is L1 by this. See, therefore, or I can take reciprocal, L1 by L1 plus L2 is equal to alpha S by alpha A plus alpha S. They ask you to find out this ratio, it is given by this. See, therefore, which one is the answer? C is the correct answer. I hope you have followed. Okay, these are all simple problems, level 1 problems. Now, we have 540 gram of ice at 0 degree Celsius mixed with 540 gram of water at 80 degree Celsius. The final temperature of the mixture is, say, equal quantity of water and ice mixed with each other. See, when you consider equal quantity, see, if the water temperature is 80 degree Celsius, remember the final temperature will be 0 degree Celsius. Suppose the quantity of ice which you are mixing with water are of same amount, and if the water temperature is 80 degree Celsius, then final temperature of the mixture will be 0 degree Celsius. So, without working, we can easily write down this. So, here heat lost by water is equal to heat gained by ice. Heat lost by water equals heat gained by ice, right? Heat gained by ice. See, here in this case, I take it as Q1 equal to Q2. Q1 here is mass into specific capacity of water into temperature, difference in temperature. See, mass of water taken is 540, right? 540 gram. And what is specific heat capacity? 1 gram per, right? See, I am expressing in terms of CGS unit, okay, because it is in gram, its value is equal to 1. Or if you express in terms of SI, it will be 4200 or 4186. Delta T is 80, right? And if you take Q2 is equal to M into LF. Mass is 540. What is LF? 80. Calorie per gram. Have you got it? See, therefore, when you multiply Q1 is equal to, therefore here Q1 is equal to Q2, and hence you will find that the final temperature of the mixture will be 0 degree Celsius. Have you got it? They have the same value, so therefore final temperature will be 0 degree. When you mix equal quantity of water and ice together, the final temperature will be 0 degree only, provided temperature of water is 80 degree. If it is above 80 degree, see, naturally there will be certain temperature. Final temperature will be more than 0 degree Celsius. Have you got it? See, therefore, A is the correct answer. How much heat energy is gained when 5 kg of water at 20 degrees Celsius brought to its boiling point? See here, heat gained or heat lost, see they are given by Q is equal to M into specific heat capacity of water into delta T. Mass of water is 5 kg. They have given specific heat capacity 4200, 4.2 kilo. It is 4200, and delta T is how much? It will be 100 minus 20, right? 100 minus 20. 100 minus 20. See, therefore, you please simplify this. 5 into 4200 into 80. Right? Into 10 raised to 3 joule. See, therefore, 1680 kilojoule. See, the first one is the correct answer. See, heat required to convert 1 gram of ice 0 degrees Celsius into a steam at 100 degrees Celsius. See, they have given latent heat of vaporization as 536 calorie per gram. Okay, so you have to calculate this here. See, first when you supply heat to the heat lost by the steam is equal to heat gained by ice. Ice starts melting. Heat required to convert 1 gram of ice at 0 degrees Celsius completely into water. See, that you have to calculate. See, Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. There are 3 parts are there. In the first case, ice melts. In the second case, ice cold water boils. In the third case, it evaporates. Okay, there are 3 stages are there. Same mass is same. See, therefore, M into LF, M into CW into delta theta, M into LV. See, mass is same. You just taken out this. This is latent heat of fusion is how much? 80. I just express in terms of calorie. And what is this one? 1. And rise in temperature is 100. 0 degree to 100. And what is latent heat of vaporization? 536 calorie per gram. So you please simplify this. On simplification, M is equal to 1. See, 1 gram is given. 1. This is 180 plus 180 plus this one 716, right? 716 calorie. So therefore, you are going to get option C as the answer. $80 grams of water at 30 degrees Celsius poured on a large block of ice at 0 degrees Celsius. The mass of ice that melts is, say here, heat lost by water is equal to heat gained by ice. But ice is a huge in quantity. Therefore, say with that small quantity of water, you cannot melt the entire block of ice. Only a small quantity of ice got melted. They ask you to find out what is the mass melted. So therefore, here also heat lost by water is equal to heat gained by ice. Heat lost by water, mass into specific heat capacity into delta theta or delta T is equal to mass into latent heat of fusion plus mass into specific heat capacity of water into delta theta, mass of ice. This is mass of ice, this is mass of water. Okay. So you have to calculate what is the mass of ice melted. You take out mass of ice outside, LF plus CW into delta theta. Or even you can same temperature or delta T dash, you can keep it as T dash. So ice temperature is remaining at 0 degree Celsius only, right? So now when you simplify this and calculate, so you are going to get theta of the mixture. So you have to calculate what is the mass of the mixture melted. It will be around 5 degrees Celsius. So mass you have to calculate, final temperature will be how much, that you have to find it out. Or you can try like this, mass of water, specific heat capacity of water, delta T, mass of ice, latent heat fusion of ice. You please substitute here, substitute in the formula, so you are going to get, see it will be around, this is 80, specific heat capacity of water is 1, and what is the temperature? Temperature is 30 minus 0, mass of ice not known, latent heat of fusion 80. See, when you simplify this, you can directly get 30. See, therefore 30 gram of ice got melted. See, if there is certain temperature, see, then we have to use the previous relation. If the final temperature is so much other than 0 degree Celsius, we have to use the previous relation. Since the final temperature will be 0 degree, because there is a huge block of ice. See, that's why you have to take it as it is, right? 100 gram of ice at 0 degree Celsius mixed with 100 gram of water at 100 degree Celsius. What will be the final temperature of the mixture? Naturally, here there will be a final temperature, because the temperature of water is above 80 degree Celsius. When it is above 80 degree Celsius, you will get some value. Here also, heat lost by water is equal to heat gained by ice. You can directly use a formula, shortcut formula. See, theta of the mixture, see, is given by, is equal to temperature of water, so minus latent heat of ice divided by specific heat capacity of water, say whole divided by 2, whole divided by 2. Say temperature of water is how much? It is equal to 100 degrees Celsius minus latent heat of ice, so it is known to be 80 divided by 1 divided, say this will be 10 degrees Celsius. So in this case, what we do is mass of water, specific heat capacity of water, theta 1 minus theta of mixture, right? Mass of ice, latent heat of fusion, plus mass of ice, specific heat capacity of water, delta theta. Theta of mixture minus 0. Okay. When you use this, when you simplify this, you are going to get this. Okay. Because mass remains same, mass of water is equal to mass of ice. See, therefore you will get this relation. Directly you can work it out. waterfall is 84 meters high. If half of the potential energy of falling water gets converted into heat, the rise in temperature will be. See, we can solve this using Joule's formula. So, I told you that in my beginning class, work done is related to heat produced by this relation J into Q. See here, what is falling from certain height, it has a potential energy. See, therefore, it is equal to mgh. Potential energy is given by mgh, already known to you. And here they have given half of the potential energy, half of mgh is equal to J into, converted into heat, mass into specific heat capacity into delta theta, right? See here, m got cancelled, you have to find out what is delta theta. Delta theta is equal to GH divided by 2 into J into CW. Okay. Say G is, so you please substitute the value 9.8, I think, and this is water is falling from a height of 84. See, this is 2, this is 4.2, J value is 4.2 joule per calorie, and this is 1000. C value is 1000. C value in terms of calories, right? Calories. I am expressing in terms of calories, therefore 1000. When you substitute that, so you are going to get, please simplify this to 4.2 into 2. See, this is also 84. See, therefore 0.098, first one I think, degree Celsius. So you are going to get the first one as the answer. You please check it up, say whether you will get the first one or yes, you will get first one. A lead ball moving with a velocity v strikes the wall and stops. If 50% of its energy converted into heat, then what will be the increase in temperature? See here, this is also case of conversion of work done into heat, right? The moving body is associated with a kinetic energy. See, they have given 50% of its energy, 50% of kinetic energy, half mv square. Kinetic energy is given by half mv square is equal to heat produced, J into m into C into delta theta. In the place of C, they have given S. In the place of C, they have given S. Got cancelled, right? See, they ask you to find out what is delta theta. Delta theta is given by V square divided by 4 into J into S. V square by 4 JS. So therefore, second option is correct. How many grams of a liquid of specific heat capacity 0.2 at a temperature 40 degrees Celsius must be mixed with 100 gram of liquid of specific heat capacity 0.5 at a temperature 20 degrees Celsius, so that final temperature of the mixture is 32 degrees Celsius. See, we have two different liquids which are at different temperature, having different specific heat capacity, got mixed with each other, and they have given final temperature to be 32 degrees Celsius. You have to find out the mass of one liquid, right? See, it is given by theta of mixture is given by m1c1 theta 1 plus m2c2 theta 2 divided by m1c1 plus m2c2, where C are the specific heat capacity. Theta of the mixture is 32. Mass of first one, it is given by right, not known, m1, and specific heat capacity, how many grams of liquid of specific heat capacity 0.2, this is 0.2, and this is at a temperature 40 plus. Second mass is 100 gram, specific heat capacity 0.5, temperature, mass is how much, 100 gram, specific heat capacity 0.5 and the temperature 20, whole divided by M1 C1, M1 as it is, C1 is 0.2 plus M2 100 into 0.5. Okay. So you please simplify this equation. On simplification, so you are going to get M1 is equal to 375 gram. So you please try this. You please cross multiply this equation and finally get it. This is 0.5 into 20. Now you can see 20. This is 20. If it is not clearly visible, I will write 100 into 0.5 into 20. Okay, so that now it is visible. A liquid of mass m and specific heat s at a temperature 2T. Another liquid of thermal capacity 1.5 times and at a temperature T by 3 added to it. The resultant temperature will be. Okay, so you are asked to calculate what is the resultant temperature. So here also we can make use of the same relation M1 C1 T1 theta 1 M2 C2 theta 2. See a liquid of mass M, this is M, and specific heat capacity S at a temperature 2T plus another liquid of thermal capacity 1.5 times Ms and it is at a temperature T by 3. See, this is M into C1 S and this is M2 1.5 times Ms. Now you please simplify this. On simplification, you are going to get, finally on simplifying you are going to get a T as the answer. Here it is 0.5, 2.5 divided by 2.5. See, 2.5 T divided by 2.5. Take out Ms common, right? You are going to get T as the answer. Therefore, option B is the correct answer. Solid expands on heating because, so you know that if you take any solids, in a solid molecules are very compact, where they are very closely spaced and their position are fixed. So if you bring two molecules very close to each other than their original position, they will repel each other. Therefore, their potential energy increases. When you try to pull out the molecules, when you make the molecules move away from each other, when you try to move them away from each other, then they will attract. If you brought them close together, they will repel. If you make them to move away, they will attract. See, we generally call it the molecular forces, right? See, therefore, when you brought them close together, potential energy increases. When you try to move them away, potential energy increases in both the cases, right? And this potential energy curve, when you plot them, it is asymmetric. The curve will be like this, right? This represents the distance. This is potential energy. When they are in an actual position, their potential energy is minimum. Okay, if then potential energy is negative, the system is in a stable state. When you increase the temperature, they started moving away from each other. The curve will be asymmetric. See, because of this asymmetry, you will be seeing not only thermal expansion, even elasticity is also because of this property. The property of elasticity is also due to this nature, asymmetry in the potential energy curve, that you will understand when you come to higher classes in detail. Two metal strips that constitutes a thermostat must necessarily differ in their coefficient of linear expansion, that we have already understood. The one which is having higher expansion coefficient will bends more. See, therefore, naturally they must differ in their linear expansion coefficient, right? It is a bimetallic strip, it contains bimetallic strip. In a vertical tube containing a liquid, two arms are maintained at different temperature T1 and T2. The liquid columns of the two arms are L1 and L2 respectively. The coefficient of volume expansion of the liquid, see here the coefficient of volume expansion, it will be like this. See there, okay. See, one is at length L1 and other one is at L2. They are given. See here, see gamma. See, before rising the temperature, they are at same level. So, after rising the temperature, they started moving away from each other. See, therefore, when you take this, they have asked you to calculate what is the volume expansion coefficient. Volume expansion coefficient is given by L2 minus L1 divided by, or L1 minus L2. See, whatever, if you take first in the first case as L1, right, this is L1, this is L1, this is L2. See, this is L1 minus L2 divided by L2 into T1 minus L1 into T2. We can calculate coefficient of volume expansion using this relation, okay. Actually here L is equal to L1 by 1 plus gamma into T1, which is also equal to L2 by 1 plus gamma into L2, right? They are equal. See, therefore, by simplifying this, you can get what is gamma. What is L? L, see, before you're supplying heat, L is the value. See how we got this? See, it's very simple. L1 is equal to L into 1 plus gamma into T1. See, this is the original relation. From that we got that. When you simplify these two equations, you will get gamma, right? Okay, let me stop at this stage. Continue the next class.